The 11th of June, 2026, Thursday morning. A reading from the Common Buddhist Text, Guidance and Insight from the Buddha. Chief editor of this compilation is Dr. Maha Dhamma Kosajan. We left off in chapter 8 on meditation from the perspective of the Vajrayana tradition. We previously have covered the Mahayana tradition and the Theravada tradition. Chapter 8 on the four luminous mindfulness, the song of the four mindfulness, Sati. The text is well concise formulation of the path according to the Gupilek school. The Song of the Four Mindfulness, the full title is The Guidance on the View of the Majjhima Patipata, the Middle Way. This is authored by Kaseng Gyatso. This is the seventh Dalai Lama from 1708 to 1757. It is condensed the whole path of the sutra and the tantra into the four meditation. The first three types of mindfulness of one's teacher, the awakening mind, and the concentration deity are all treated in one verse. While the fourth type, mindfulness of emptiness, is presented in the two. Mindfulness of the teacher. On the seat of the immutable union of method, upaya, and panya, wisdom sits your gracious teacher, who is the essence of all the refuges, a Buddha with complete abandonment and realization. Forsaken thoughts of criticism supplicate him with pure perception, not letting your mind wander loose. Place it in the state of devotion and respect, never forgetting him for a moment. Maintain the state of devoted respect. Mindfulness of the awakening mind. In the painful prison of endless samsara vata of rebirth, wander the six types of sentient beings, brief fret of happiness. These are your fathers and mothers, who've looked after you with kindness in the past lives. Forsaking attachment and hatred, think of them with love and compassion. Not letting your mind loose, place it in the state of compassion, never forgetting them for a moment, maintaining the state of compassion. Mindfulness of the body as divine. In the feelings of happiness, the divine mansions of great bliss abides your own divine body, made of pure categories of existence and elements. A concentration deity of the three Buddha bodies, inseparable. Not conceiving yourself as ordinary, practice dignity and clear appearance, not letting your mind loose. Place it in the state of profundity and clarity, never forgetting it for a moment. Keep it in the profundity and clarity. Mindfulness on the view of emptiness. In the mandala of actual and visual objects of knowledge, all is suffused by the space of luminosity. The ultimate truth, the actual nature, which is inexpressibly reality of things as they actually are. Forsaken mental fabrications, look at their empty clarity, not letting your mind loose. Let it rest in the ultimate nature, never forgetting it for a moment. Keep it in the actual nature. At the crossroads of the varieties of appearances in the sixth consciousness, a chaotic mess of dualistic phenomenon without basis or roots is experienced. A magical show full of a deception and seclusion. Now, thinking that they are true, look at the nature of emptiness, not letting your mind loose. Place it in the state of empty appearance, never forgetting it for a moment. Keep it in the state of empty appearance. This is the song for the four mindfulness. Mindfully for the end of the chapter of chapter 8 from the perspective of the Vajrayana tradition, meditation on the nature of mind. An introduction to knowing. This passage is an excerpt from the introduction to knowing, natural liberation through naked perception from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It is a tribute to the great Indian Siddha Paramasambhava, the root guru of the Nyingmapa school of the Tibetan, and one of the key sources of the nature of the mind according to its tradition. After dismissing the philosophical passions of other schools and listing their different terms and ultimate reality, it introduces non-dual knowledge. It is also called knowing as the nature of the present moment. Imaho, the soul mind, which pervades all of samsara, Nipita, Nibbana, Nirvana, has been our very nature from the first. Yet we have not recognized it. The luminous knowing has never been interpreted, yet we have not encountered it. It has been revealing itself in all, yet we have not faced it. All the inconceivable. The 84,000 approaches to the Dhamma spoken by the Buddhas of the past, present, and future have been taught in order to make us realize just this knowledge of knowing. The victorious ones have not taught for any other reasons than to make us realize just this. Despite the teaching being as unfathomably vast as the sky, it actually takes only 3 words to introduce one to knowing. This direct introduction to the intent of the victorious ones without past or future. This is it. Behold, fortunate sons, listen to me. This so-called mind is a great, famous term, since it has not been understood, but has been misunderstood, only partially understood, or has not been understood as it is. As inconceivable variety of tenets came to be. Ordinarily, individuals do not understand it. They wander around 6 states of the 3 realms, experiencing dukkha, suffering, because they fell into the understanding of the nature of the mind. Disciple and the solitary Buddhas claim to understand it, but do so in just partial way, as the lack of personal identity, not just as it is. And since they are also bound by their texts and tenets, they cannot see the luminosity. They are obscured by clinging to the dualistic perception and fall into the mistake of bisecting non-dual reality into the subject and object. Madhyamikas are obscured by clinging to 2 truths. Kriya and Yoga Tantra practitioners by clinging to the ideas of approach and accomplishment. Maha and Anu Yoga practitioners by clinging to the dual of mind at its fields. They all wander around samsara vata, the rounds of rebirth, through the approach of rejecting, abandoning, and clinging as aspects of their own minds. Whereas samsara and nibbana, nirvana, are actually inseparable. And failing to attain non-dual unity, they cannot become Buddhas, awakened. Cut out, therefore, all artificial Dhamma practice, and by this teaching on the self-liberating direct perception of knowing, realize all phenomenon as great self-liberation. Thus, the great completion is everything complete, samaya, raya, raya, raya. This flickering knowing activity called mind cannot be identified with any particular existence, and yet it brings into the existence all happiness and sufferings of samsara and nibbana, nirvana. It is defined according to the 11 different approaches. and has been inconceivable number of names. Some call it the nature of the mind, the nature of the mind. Some non-Buddhists call it self. Disciples call it the lack of personal identity. The mind-only school calls it mind. Some other call it perfection of wisdom, or by the name Sukata Garbha, the Buddha nature, or Mahamudra, the great symbol, or the single sphere, or the expansive phenomenon. There are those who call it universal background. Some call it the ordinary mind. Now let me introduce you to the triple way of entry into just this. The past moment of the mind has clearly disappeared without trace. The future one has not yet come to be. And when the present is uncontrived and natural, let the ordinary cognition into its own time gaze directly at itself. When you look, there is nothing to see but luminosity. It is direct knowing, naked and alert. Nothing particular, just open, empty space, a non-dual experience of luminosity and emptiness. It is not permanent, since it's nothing particular. It is not an annihilation, for its clear alertness. Annihilation for its clear alertness. It is not unity, but knowing, but being known and apparent to the manifold. It is not multiple, because there is one indivisible taste. This is not extraneous, derived from this own intrinsic knowing, the actual state of beings to which you have just been introduced. It has all the three Buddha characteristics as inseparable unity. That is, nothing particular, it's emptiness. It is the Dhamma. The luminous self-expression of emptiness is the enjoyment of body. It is the ceaseless display and as everything is emanation. The full unity of these three of the essence body itself. If you want to be introduced by the forceful method into this, it is nothing but the present moment of knowing. This is cited from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, page 373 to 381. We just ended chapter 8 on meditation from the perspective of the Vajrayana tradition. As we go to chapter 9 on Panya, wisdom, we will start off on the Theravada tradition. A brief reading from the common Buddhist text, Guidance and Insight from the Buddha. Chief editor of this compilation is Dr. Maha Dhamma Kosachan.